Welcome, everybody, back to the Friar Talk podcast and YouTube channel. So today we're going to give a quick update on the lockout, talk about the Rob Manfred, Ken Rosenthal kind of stuff. And we've been doing these top 10s lately. We're going to be finishing that up through the rest of the week, and then we're going to be finishing up our series on the past Padres trades. After that, we're going to get back to our normal content, doing stuff where, Padres news and whatnot. We added these two series just because, as you guys all know, there's not really anything going on. But we do plan on getting back to like what we've been doing in the past. During the season, we'll have it similar to last year, probably a little bit different, but pretty much the same. But Chase, you want to give a quick update on these couple things we want to talk about real quick?
Yeah, so mainly for the lockout, there is no scheduled meetings in place between the owners and the Players Association, which not as surprising, but it doesn't look like the lockout is going to end anytime soon. And we're just going to go on kind of how it affects season 2. Pitchers and catchers are supposed to meet on February 14th. That's a month and a half away, and there is no scheduled meetings for the month at all. So that gets pushed back. The season is slated to begin March 31st, and we still haven't had any scheduled meetings between anyone. So let's say they schedule a meeting mid to third week of January, and they start arguing. They always do because they can't agree with anything. It took them how many? Let's say it took them like a month and a half, 2 months to agree to the 2020 clauses. So we won't see season start probably until May in that case, because you still need to have some sort of spring training. You need to have some sort of time for players to get ready. You need actually not even that, because you still can't have players signed to teams. There's no free agency period. So you know what? If we have a season, I'm going to assume it's only going to be maybe 60 to 80 games. I can't even see us playing 100 games at this point, because you need a free agency period. You need a period for players to meet with their teams. You need pitchers to get stretched out. You need to have a little spring training or some sort of placeholder so teams can bring up and call up prospects or see how many players that they can hold, who's healthy, who to cut from teams. Like, there's so many different things that need to be done before season starts, and they're just dragging their feet in this whole thing. So season's not going to start anytime soon. There's not really an update other than they're refusing to meet with each other right now.
Yeah, I forgot who tweeted it out earlier. Somebody said baseball needs an owner that I forgot what it is, commissioner that loves baseball. Rob Manfred is not that guy. I think, we all hate Rob Manfred. It's a shame that all the owners and especially him can't get everyone to agree on something. And I know, I've seen people blame the owners, but the commissioner is the guy that can get all this going, that can force them to do something about it. And as far as the owners go, we are your revenue. Like, us fans and your players are the revenue. And I don't get how the players don't have most say in this, because they're the product. We don't go to games to watch who Seidler. We don't go there to watch them or any of the MLB owners. We go to watch the Machados, the Tatises. Like, why don't they have most of the say? Why is there disagreement between the players and the owners when it's very obvious it should be a one-sided argument? But I mean, I don't know. I'm still hoping for 100 games. I know, there does have to be a free agency period and everything. Hopefully there's a bunch of teams that had stuff lined up before the lockout happened, and the moves can all be done pretty fast. That way, we could have stuff to talk about again, because baseball is irrelevant right now, which is unfortunate considering the amount of talent that baseball has to push right now. It's in a really good spot. I think it's in the best spot it's been. We were talking about it before we started recording, in terms of marketing. Fernando, Ronald Acuna, Juan Soto. You still got Mookie Betts, Randy Arozarena. There's a bunch of young guys. Wander Franco. There's a bunch of young guys that you can market right now that are going to be very marketable on social media to all the young people who are, trying to introduce themselves to baseball, and you're just missing on a huge opportunity. And after all, it is a revenue-based business, and you're missing out on a lot of revenue. But as far as Rob Manfred goes, is obviously another thing that everyone's talking about right now with Ken Rosenthal. And I don't know. I feel for us Padres fans, there's bad memories with him. That's the first thing I thought of when I saw it. But this is like a Rob Manfred dictatorship, man. Like, this is ridiculous. This is so bad. The guy just doesn't seem to be in it for anyone else but himself. Baseball's our sport. It's our product, and he doesn't seem to care about that. And it really sucks. And for Ken Rosenthal, sucks for him too. Fortunately, I guess you can't say anything bad about your boss, which I feel like that's something wrong in the workplace. But sucks for him, man.
Yeah, and I'll talk about just the lockout update a little bit first, and then I'll go into the Manfred Rosenthal stuff. With the lockout, I think, okay, it's one thing, like, we've seen the NBA have lockouts in the past. We've seen the NFL have lockouts in the past. It wasn't, I think, what was that, 2011, I want to say, for one of them. They were right back to back. But they figured it out, and it ends up getting worked out. With baseball, I have a lot less, like, I feel like it's a lot less likely that something's going to get worked out in an appropriate timeline. When you have reports, and it's different, like, okay, like, not everything's resolved. No, that's not the report. The report is that there's nothing been being talked about because two sides are so far apart. So I think that shows you, like, you have the ownership, the commissioner, that kind of side of it against the players, and the players union is literally taken as, this isn't even acceptable, isn't even close to acceptable. When it's that level, I think you have to listen to a little bit more on the players' side, because there's a reason it's that big of an issue. And for most of this stuff, it's not really about the Machados, the Tatises, the guys that are making, $500 million in their career. It's definitely about the other guys, the guys that are in minor leagues for 12 years and they don't make any money ever. Like, it's a lot of stuff like that. I think that the players basically feel gypped. They feel like the league doesn't care what they have to say. I mean, how long has it been that pitchers are like, can we please not hit? Can we please not hit? This doesn't make any sense. There's no other league but the NL that hits. Why do we hit? If you want the pitchers to hit, look, I get it. There are some sweet moments. We had a sweet one last year. We had Slam Arena. That was amazing, right? I get that argument of it. But in terms of the players are the ones that should have the biggest say in their health and how the game operates and stuff like that. So what we're seeing is, I think we're just seeing the players feel like they're not getting, like, any respect. And I don't think that they just feel like they're being completely cheated out on. It's to the level where there's no conversations. That's an issue. Like, and that's not on the players. I think that in the past, like, you've seen some stuff like, all right, are some of the NBA players going a little bit, like, extreme? And if you make the argument, yes, like, okay, I could see that argument, right? At this point, it's like, all right, guys, like, this is an issue with the MLB, not really about the players. Then you brought up the dictatorship, Isaac, and that's what we're titling this video, because you have a reporter who's one of the head reporters in the game, and he basically critiques you in 2020. That's when it started. In 2020, he critiqued you. And that's apparently the reason behind this, behind the fallout, is that he's like, hey, this guy's not doing a good enough job. Do we not watch the NFL? Do we not see everyone completely ripping Roger Goodell? And I am not defending Roger Goodell, I'll tell you that right now. But, like, everyone rips Roger Goodell. And someone rips Manfred and then he gets fired? That just seems outrageous to me. So it just seems like Rob Manfred is doing an awful job. I think if you ask the majority of people that hear the name and they know who that is and they're baseball fans, I would bet that like 90% of them absolutely despise him. So, one, that's an issue. Two, I think that we're just seeing, like, you might not have a season and a lot of the blame goes to him. You're having reporters fired. Like, it's an absolute dumpster fire right now for the MLB. And this is a league that a lot of people are concerned about the longevity of it. This is like the worst thing that could possibly happen. So, like you said, Isaac, there's a ton of crazy marketable players right now in the league. The game is most exciting it's ever been. And now you have something that could completely derail the season. And I think that's just embarrassing. I think from Rob Manfred's point of view, like, it's kind of disgraceful, honestly. Like, it's that bad. It is that bad right now. So we wanted to say some stuff on this, but Chase, Isaac, anything else you guys want to bring up?
I got one thing. So not only was Ken Rosenthal fired, but a little after his critiques, he was on long-term suspension until the trade deadline of 2021. And then we saw, why Padres fans have a little beef with him because, right after suspension, he's like, Padres got Max Scherzer. No, you didn't. A little understandable. I mean, you were suspended for like basically an entire season. And, and then right after that, you get fired. So really tough on that. You don't get to do your job for half a season, come back, mess up one thing, and then get fired for the previous season. It's a little messed up. I felt like that could have been handled a lot better. I mean, you got to be able to take critiques, especially with how Manfred has been with the game. Last season, it was revealed to reporters. I forget who was the first on this story. The MLB was using 2 different baseballs. They were secretly switching out the baseballs mid-season, didn't tell teams, didn't tell pitchers, didn't tell hitters, didn't tell catchers. They didn't tell anyone. It was leaked to reporters that Manfred had been telling everybody to switch out the baseballs mid-season. You can't have stuff going on like that affects the integrity of the game.
Real quick, Chase.
Was that not?
Wasn't there like an issue like some of the pitchers were like coming out saying like, hey, something's up? Isn't that what happened last year?
Yeah, they were mentioning that some of the balls felt different, and they were like, nah, you're just the balls are the same. They lied to them. They lied to everybody, and they were like, yeah, and then after season, yeah, they were using different balls the entire season. You can't have that. One, it seems like you're rigging games at that point, and 2, you're affecting the integrity, the ability of pitchers, the ability of hitters. When they notice something's up, you've done a horrible job with what you've through the past couple seasons. Make the DH universal, give minor leaguers more money, shorten the season a little bit, and stop with the service time initiation. Guys already gypped enough in the minor leagues, and you want to say, oh, he didn't play the first month, so that's not a full year. So we get 7 years of him on a cheap contract, so we don't have to pay him. Stop it.
Yeah, it's pretty disgraceful to the game. Remember, he was juicing the balls, and so let's say it was the Padres-Dodgers series, right? He would give the juice balls to that series, knowing the viewership would be higher, and he'd give the regular or toned down baseballs to like a Pirates-Royals series. So in all, what we're seeing is he wants to get viewership up. He wants to get excitement to the game. And how does he derail it? He doesn't get anything going for this contract. We brought up the marketable players. You sound like a clown going from trying to get viewership to big games. And now there's nothing going on in baseball. There's nothing for fans to be excited about. That's just how I feel about it. Ken Rosenthal, I didn't really care. Beef there. But, that sucks for him, man. I hate that this is going on in baseball right now. I don't know. It sucks. We all want to see a full baseball season, looking less likely by the day that goes day by day. But hopefully we get 100 games. The good thing is we're still seeing all the players going, doing their thing off the field. We see us Padre fans see a bunch of stuff on Mike Clevenger, a bunch of his clips. That's a guy that I'm banking on highly, and it's still fun to be able to see those clips of those guys at least.
I got one more thing. Fix the sticky situation, man. Find something that the pitchers can use that don't give them too much of an advantage, but can allow them to grip the ball more than a rosin bag. We have technology for a reason. The rosin bag's been used for how many years, how many decades? We can give them a little something better than that. If you go back to the juice baseballs, but give something the pitchers to grip the ball better, it evens out.
Yeah. I think final thing that I'll kind of add is you talked about the service time, stuff like that. And I've seen people argue like, hey, like it is how it is, you're trying to make it like get into the league and whatnot. The one thing I'll argue is like that's completely different than other leagues. In the NBA, G leaguers and guys that are playing overseas are making exorbitant amounts of money for these guys, and the G leaguers don't even make that much money. In the NFL, if you're bouncing around practice squads, you guys know how many like bonuses those guys get? Like, 50 grand, 50 grand, 50 grand. Like you get tossed a ton of cash. You're getting bounced around practice squads. In the minors, like, what is it, like $500 a month? $500 is it $500 a week? For insane hours. That's the thing. It's like, yeah, it might be like $500 a week, but these guys are literally training like constantly. So
it was like every 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's like a stipend almost. It's not even like a real pay, it seems like. And in the service time, of course, that's frustrating. But yeah, it's like that's completely different than every other professional sports organization or association. Like that's entirely different. So I don't really get like the argument there because the MLB is the only one that does it this way. And like you have college football, but you still have guys coming in, guys that are like borderline NFL rosterable guys, and they're able to make a lot more money in the time that they play than a lot of minor leaguers that play for like 10 years. That's an issue. That's a huge issue. Obviously, roster sizes are different and whatnot, but you have minor league systems in hockey and baseball. You have overseas in all of these sports too, besides the NFL, really, and even the NFL. Like I said, like you get a lot of bonuses for bouncing on rosters throughout the season. So I think it's gonna do it though for today. Hopefully, like you guys said, hopefully there's a 100-game season. It really sucks that this is the case. I mean, I've been super pumped about Ruben Niebla, Bob Melvin coming in as a new coaching staff for the Padres because that was such a big deal to get some of these young guys, get Mackenzie Gore, up to par, get him kind of back. This is such a just completely derails that in my opinion. So makes it a lot hard for guys like CJ Abrams, Mackenzie Gore, Robert Hassel to take that next step and be contributors this year if there's a season this year. And even in future years, like it really hurts a lot of these guys' development. So sucks to see that. Hopefully the league figures it out. And I mean, at this point, it's getting pretty close where I think a lot of people are going to start calling like for Rob Manfred to be gone because it's kind of getting ridiculous. Like you can't have the players not like and the owners not even talking in a lockout when you have a really, really exciting season coming up. I mean, like all the marketable players that we talked about. I mean, we were pumped and we're Padres fans, but I think there's a lot of other teams that are also really excited about their years. So hopefully we get to see some baseball. But this is definitely a bigger issue. And we talked about it in like July, but I think it's even a bigger issue than we thought now because it's like, okay, there's like nothing. Like there's not even like a sign that stuff's going to get better. So hopefully it happens, but thanks you all for listening. And we'll talk to you guys very soon. We'll be doing those top 10s for the rest of the week, finishing those up. And then doing the Padres trade series next week. And that'll be all wrapped up after that. And then hopefully there's some kind of update that we can provide you guys later, but nothing really now. So we'll talk to you guys soon and drop our top 10s later this week.